I had thought that the previous episode had a lot of contrived garbage, but this one is somehow much worse. We don't even have to wait long, just within the first few minutes, there is some truly stupid stuff going on. But it's even more impressive when you realize that isn't even the dumbest thing that will happen in the episode. Somehow the ending is even more absurd, although that shouldn't come as much of a surprise because the showrunners have admitted that the final few episodes had to be slapped together as quickly as possible. They didn't even have an actual plan for the second half of the season. Instead, they were just making up everything as they went along and putting it together in post as best that they could, so that the end product would make some kind of sense. I regret to inform you that they failed in their mission. Secret Invasion is bad. Episode 4. We begin with some excessively contrived nonsense. After seeing Dani laying on the ground, there's a quick flashback that would have happened just minutes beforehand. When she was using the memory television thing to get the code from Bob, she noticed another human that looked like the scientist that she had been secretly watching for a few minutes in the previous episode about the secret experiment thing. She quickly peruses through the millions upon millions of memories that this woman had in order to find all the information that she needed about the secret project that Gravik had been working on. Dani then goes and finds the appropriate sample of DNA and operates the secret machine. She manages to do all of this in the span of about 90 seconds or less.
It's absurd.
I have to say this seems a bit unreasonable to me. Remember, she wasn't able to actually get the code word from Bob because he had too many memories and she couldn't find the correct one, so she had to simply guess that it was the name of his son. Then she needed to immediately leave because the guards in the facility had been alerted that someone was messing around with stuff. So we're supposed to believe that she didn't have enough time to find Bob's code word and had to guess, but she did have enough time to completely search through this woman's memories to find out about the secret program and also how to operate the machine.
Right.
Also, I think it's kind of important to mention that this woman isn't the one who was actually working on the secret machine project. She might have been a brilliant scientist or something to that effect, but it was the Skrull who was impersonating her that was the one that was actually trying to create the functioning machine. This woman, who's currently being held captive, would have no knowledge of the machine that was being used because she didn't actually build it. Her Skrull doppelganger is the one who did that. So how exactly is Dani supposed to steal the memories of this woman creating the machine when she's not the one that created it?
Excellent point.
The Skrulls don't have all of the DNA from the Avengers, but they do have quite a few samples, and Dani just so happens to decide to take the one superpower that would make her immune to bullets, basically, and allow her to survive the next scene. She didn't know that she was going to be confronted on the road leaving the facility, and there are any number of the other superpowers that she could have taken, or she could have, just used all of them, but instead, she decided to take the one superpower that would have allowed her to instantly heal after being shot.
It's very convenient.
Very convenient.
Now we get another flashback, this time to the year 2012. It doesn't really add much to the story and simply reaffirms the idea that Nick Fury and the female Skrull are going to have a relationship. The only thing it really manages to do is waste about 3 minutes of screen time. Back in the present, Nick Fury's wife is in church where she meets with Rhodey, who is revealed to be a Skrull also working for Gravik. At this point, it's unknown if this is a Skrull who is simply impersonating Rhodey temporarily, or if Rhodey has always been a Skrull. We'll find out more later. Spoiler, it's gonna be awful.
Madness. Madness and stupidity.
Regardless, Rhodey says that Nick Fury needs to die, and he makes the threat that if he doesn't, then the wife will instead. Somehow Nick Fury is listening to all of this through an audio bug, which apparently he planted in his wife's phone when she wasn't looking. Dani meets up with Talos, and they have a very strange conversation. She says that he's the reason why she's doing the stuff that she is now, because she wants to be with her father instead of Gravik, and then she asks what his plan is for the 1 million Skrulls that are living on Earth. He says that they need to stop Gravik first, then they can talk to the president and some other world leaders and say, hey, we just stopped the end of the world and we just stopped Gravik, and maybe in exchange you can give us some amnesty and all of the Skrulls can live here peacefully with the humans. Danny gets upset by this and says the plan is naive and dumb, which is quite accurate, surprisingly. She then walks away, apparently not wanting anything to do with her father anymore.
It is a tale told by an idiot.
Just so we're clear, Danny wanted to be with her father so badly that she betrayed Gravik and almost died, but when she learns that his plan may not be the best of options, she just suddenly throws him away and doesn't want anything to do with him anymore?
What the fuck is this?
Fury's wife gets back home and she notices that Nick Fury is not wearing his wedding ring anymore, and he confesses that he made a lot of mistakes with her and that he knows about her plan to kill him with the pistol that she got from the safe deposit box. Apparently there's nothing special about this pistol, she just needed it for this specific reason, which is unbelievably fucking stupid. I find it extraordinarily difficult to believe that a super secret agent Skrull who is working with Gravik wouldn't already have a weapon somewhere in the house.
What good are you? Do you have a brain?
The safe deposit box situation is overcomplicated nonsense that just didn't need to be there. Furthermore, the weapon itself isn't even necessary because, once again, remember, Skrulls have super strength. She could have killed the old and decrepit Nick Fury with a single punch or just easily choke the life out of him. There is no reason for her to even bother using a weapon.
It's tough to get any more obvious than that.
They sit down together and the wife explains how she got her human appearance and name. There was a woman who was slowly dying and she made a few promises just before it happened. After the story, Nick Fury and the wife draw their guns and fire at each other, but seconds later, it's revealed that both of them missed on purpose, aiming off to the side. Nick Fury says that he's not sure if this means that they should get a divorce or renew their vows, but it's clear that both of them were willing to sacrifice themselves in order to save the other. This is a moment of absolute trust that can never be broken. Nick Fury has to leave, but he tells her that because of this, Gravik and his people are going to come after her, to which she responds that she can take care of herself.
I am the strongest woman this state has ever seen.
To be honest, I'm surprised they didn't have her do some finger snaps when she was saying it. But don't worry, it gets worse. It's gonna get so much worse. We already knew that Rhodey was being impersonated by a Skrull, but now it's revealed that it's also a female Skrull for some reason. This doesn't make any sense, and we'll get to why that is a little bit later on.
Weird.
A few moments later, Nick Fury breaks into the hotel room where Femme Rhodey is staying. Fury says he knows about a Skrull close to the president, but Femme Rhodey doesn't want anything to do with it. As a peace offering, Nick Fury offers a bottle of expensive whiskey. At first, Femme Rhodey thought that it might be poisoned, but Fury drinks a little bit of it himself. It's later revealed that there is something going on with it, and instead of being poisoned, there's a liquid tracker of some kind that was put into the bottle.
I don't think that's a thing.
During their conversation, Femme Rhodey shows a video of Gravik when he shot Maria, but of course Gravik was shapeshifted to look like Nick Fury at the time. Femme Rhodey threatens Nick Fury, saying that if he doesn't do as he is told, then Femme Rhodey will release the video, and the entire world will view him as if he had been the one that had actually killed Maria, and he'll be hunted by everyone.
You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you.
Later that day, Femme Rhodey meets with the president, who just arrived in London, in order to speak to the other world leaders about the current problems. As they're moving in their convoy, Gravik and his men, disguised as Russian special forces, attack the convoy. Of course, Gravik is still using his black guy human appearance, because as we all know, black guys are very common among Russian special forces.
This is terrible.
During the ensuing battle, Gravik uses some stretchy plant-like superpowers, which were obviously stolen from Groot. Also, during the fighting, Talos is shot, and eventually he's stabbed and killed by Gravik, who is now pretending to be one of the American soldiers. But don't worry, it gets worse. Let's slow down for a second, because I want you to take a look at this scene here. This is the wounded Talos being carried by Gravik, who's pretending to be the American soldier in this case. Nick Fury realizes that something is wrong, and he shoots Gravik, and then Gravik shapeshifts back into his Russian soldier form, which once again I need to point out how fucking stupid it is for a black guy to be a Special Forces Russian. Regardless, Gravik stabs Talos and kills him. Once again, take a good look at this scene and what's in the background. There are 5 U.S. soldiers standing within maybe 8 feet of this happening. In fact, some of them were even closer than that. And yet not a single one of them ever happened to notice that suddenly there was a black guy wearing Russian uniform standing right next to them.
I'm blind!
But it gets even more ridiculous. After this happens, the scene changes over to the view of the helicopters overhead and then quickly cuts back to the view of Gravik and Talos. But as you can see, all of the American soldiers in the background have vanished completely. Instead, one of the fake Russian Skrulls drives a motorcycle up to the point where Gravik is standing, and then Gravik very slowly hops on back and takes a few seconds to look down at Talos, and then the motorcycle rides off. And it gets even dumber, because after Gravik rides off on the motorcycle, all of the American soldiers magically reappear right next to Nick Fury's vehicle.
Could someone please just tell me, what the fuck is going on here?
How did the soldiers not notice it? Why did they vanish? And then why did they magically reappear? This is idiocy. It is astounding that the people working in Hollywood, the writers, the actors, the showrunners, the directors, actually think that they deserve more money when they are producing garbage like this. They can't even keep the scene straight. What the fuck are you doing? And it also brings up some very big questions about the quality of the writing for a show when they're able to kill off a supposedly major character like Talos, and yet nobody even cares. The emotional impact of this character's death is very similar to the audience of this show. They're both non-existent. But thankfully, that's the end of episode 4.
Taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electronic, blow the sonic roof up. I'm too honest when I take a few shots. They're too